and there's literally nobody out here. Look at this, guys. This is Siesta Key, Florida. Could it be because of the hurricane? Could it be because of the fact it's a little cool tonight? Because it's not that cold out here. Look at this. We're looking at an empty, vacant Siesta Key where there's practically nobody out here. So let's take a walk around and explore and see exactly what on earth is going on in Siesta Key, Florida. If you're not familiar with Siesta Key, it's right outside of Sarasota, and it's a popular destination for tourists. This is the type of place that you would expect this time of year to be packed with people, but it's a ghost town here on the island. So what exactly is going on in Florida? Because after all, we did have these hurricanes and things are not going, ideal in Florida right now. There's a lot of bad things in the air. But really, is it that bad that nobody's on Siesta Key? I'm really shocked to see the island this empty. I'm not going to lie. I've personally never seen the island this empty. It's weird. And, it's a Friday night. Wouldn't you expect on a Friday night kids to be out here and locals alike and snowbirds? But look. What is a snowbird? So here in Florida, we get people from up north who winter in the warm weather. So obviously Florida is the warmest state in the lower 48. So a lot of people from Minnesota, New York, and other cold states come down to enjoy warm weather in Florida. It's kind of like people who have a second home in Florida so that they don't have to be in the frigid north during the frigid winter. What up, man? We got Miami in the house. You're from Miami? You don't know what a snowbird is? Come on, man. Migrating to the heat, that's right. I know we had a hurricane, and I know a few things have happened in Florida that haven't been ideal. But it's crazy to see the island this empty. On a Friday night, this is supposed to be packed. Okay, you're telling me that you live in Miami and you've never heard the snowbird term? That's crazy. Yeah, it's kind of the way our state works. Welcome to Florida. Yes, we have snowbirds. Tonight I went Uber driving and I only made like $21. I had 3 passengers. 2 of them were snowbirds. One from Canada and the other one I can't remember from where. People spent all their money. I don't know. But I am shocked to see the island empty. I can hear some Cubans talking loudly over there. Like, oh yeah, mijo, talking loud. You said Wynwood and South Beach are packed right now? Well, it could be that people did not come here because of the hurricanes. We got poor dirt farmer causing trouble in North Florida. How you doing, my man? Thanks for checking into the live stream. The daiquiri bar, it was empty. I was just there a minute ago. I walked from over there. We'll get there eventually. It was empty. Katie is at home. I am on Siesta Key. Shocked that this is a ghost town today. I can't say that even in the summer, even on a Sunday in the summer, I've seen this place this empty. This is just weird to see the island like this. It's odd. I went Uber driving today and I only got 3 passengers. Made $21. Pathetic, right? Yeah, pathetic. And I was on the island for like 15, 20 minutes with the Uber app on and I couldn't get a ride out of the island. I'm like, what the crap? Everything is empty. It's going to be a long and difficult year here in Florida. It really is. It's going to be very, very difficult here in Florida for us. I mean, you make most of your money during this time of the year. And if it's like this now, what does that say for the remainder of the year? It's practically a ghost town. It's 53 degrees, so I'm guessing that's part of it. Not really. But snow doesn't... A little bit of cold weather doesn't stop things in Florida. Well, I'm in Wynwood now, and I can't even see my feet. It's so packed in Wynwood, Miami. It could be that a lot of people went to the East Coast instead of the West Coast this year. You know, people were afraid of the hurricane cleanup, so they didn't come. Well, I'm glad it's packed in Miami. It is definitely not packed here. But I was just in Jacksonville, and it was empty as well. You know, it's just last week we were in Jacksonville. It was empty. We were in Orlando. It was empty. I really do feel like there's something. And I talked to my dad. He lives in Naples, and they didn't get hit by the hurricanes as badly. And my dad's telling me that there haven't been that many snowbirds in Naples this year. So it might just be a thing where there aren't snowbirds anymore. Just people are not coming to Florida like they used to. What do you guys think? The cold weather, it's a little cold, but it's not cold enough to where you wouldn't be out. I'm comfortable out here. I feel comfortable out here. I actually like this. It's perfect walking weather. Yeah, it's 22 degrees in Pennsylvania. That would be the time of the year to come to Florida. And I'm looking at the airport, and not too many people have checked in the town either way. Since I Uber drive, I'm always watching the airport to see if there's going to be, because what I'm doing with Uber now is I'm just trying to drive peak hours. I'm only driving like weekends, nights, peak hours. I'm not just randomly driving Uber just to drive Uber. What is that? Somebody lost their jewelry out here. You wouldn't believe how often I find gold and silver just laying on the road and sidewalks in Florida. People drink and they lose their jewelry. Like all the time I find jewelry just walking around. When I walk around, I'm like always looking on the ground to see if I can find jewelry. And you wouldn't believe how often I find gold and silver. About 3 months ago, I sold like $60 in gold. Found it in the parking lot outside my apartment run for a walk. Vacant. Look at this driver. He's just parked right out front. Pretty slow, huh? We're on an island outside of Sarasota. New Year's means new stream. Well, I mean, I used to live stream through the whole winter when I lived in Fort Myers. But I haven't been live streaming as much. You know, I'll be honest with you guys. I stopped live streaming because you guys stopped tipping me for live streams. I used to go live and I'd make $60, $70 on a live stream. A few times I made over $100 on a live stream. I think the last 5 times that I've gone live, I haven't made $20. I don't know if it's just we've changed our audience. Our audience used to be kind of a lot of people looking to move to Florida, and maybe there's more money in that than there is what I'm doing now. I'm not sure. But I feel like I used to get a lot of money during live streams, and live stream money kind of fell off. Could be me. It could be my audience. It could be just people don't do that anymore. People go through phases. But the last 5 or 6 live streams have been so bad that they haven't even paid off. I mean, it's like you do a hour and a half live stream and you make $6. Then it's like it's not worth it. You know what I mean? Uber driver right there taking his passengers away. Everyone else is doing casting or podcast now. Yeah, I'm not gonna switch up my formula. Hey, what's up?
Hey vlog, my name's Ava.
Where are you guys from?
My name's Audrey.
Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas.
This is Brooke, and I'm Audrey, and we're from Dallas.
Have fun, okay?
Thank you.
You too.
All right, have fun. All right. "48 degrees in Winter Haven, Winter Garden, Florida." Wow, that's pretty cold. It is not that cold. Okay, they're definitely ready to be picked up by an Uber. Okay. "You should check out the homeless shelters." Okay, I'm not gonna switch. I thought about switching into podcasting, but then you know what? Uber. I'm in Uber. What am I talking about? YouTube. I'm in YouTube for the long haul. I don't mess with Instagram. I don't mess with Facebook. I do YouTube, and that's it. And I believe that YouTube's gonna be around for a long time. I really do believe YouTube will be around for a long time. And I'm going to stick to that. I'm in this for the long haul. I've never cared about Instagram or TikTok came and went. I don't do that. Could I do it? Sure. But my strategy for this is very different than other people's. And it's worked for me. Have I become a billionaire? No, but it's worked. So, you know, it's worked. I make a full-time living on YouTube, and I always have a little side hustle here and there, but it works. I feel that the problem with everybody now does podcasts and everybody does all that stuff, yeah. But I'm not switching it up. I'm going to stay loyal to YouTube because I understand how to make money on it, and that's it. Not interested in your homeless videos. I'm sorry to hear that. And I can totally understand. It's definitely a weird, odd thing to watch if you're not homeless. You might watch one or two here and there, but then like a whole YouTube channel about homelessness, I can understand how people check out on that one. It's not for everybody. Some people just can't even stand it. It's like, what are you going to do about it? It exists. It's sad, but most people move on, sadly. I can understand people not caring about those videos, but you got to understand the algorithm. The series on homelessness has really done well, and it's worked. I mean, it's just, that's what people click on. Like, I've always said that as a YouTuber, I don't get to decide what I want to watch. Like, the audience, I'm going to keep walking, because if I stop walking, you guys check out. I like your homeless interviews. Makes me happy for all that I've got. Yeah, that's one way to look at it. I mean, it's something that I introduced to an audience that wasn't into it. So it's definitely from people looking to move to Florida. They want to see beaches and beach walks and stuff like that, to throw homeless interviews at them. It's definitely, you can almost say off-putting to some people, but it's worked for the fact that as a YouTuber, I feel like I don't get to pick what the audience wants. The audience decides what they want to watch, and that's what the internet wants from me. Because when I do these videos, they get views. And there's a lot of criticism for it, but I've always known one thing about YouTube is that you don't pick what you give the internet. The internet decides what you're giving them. It's been proven to me over and over again that as a YouTuber, I don't get to decide what my content's going to be. My audience says, we like this, we like that, we do not like this. So as I'm uploading videos, these YouTube interviews do well. We got Fisherman on board, 805 Lopez. Your journalism is priceless and top-notch, and it's a little scary. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm showing stuff that people do not want to be shown. Like, I don't know who could get mad at what I'm saying, but I'm sure there's commissioners, criminals, people in law enforcement. Not everybody in law enforcement. We have a lot of law enforcement that supports our channel. Quite a bit of people in law enforcement support our channel, and I'm thankful that they're here. We have a varied audience, and there could be somebody out there who does not want these real stories exposed. I mean, I'm exposing things that are real. This is real journalism, not the crap you get on your local news networks. We're doing real journalism. And with real journalism comes real danger. Because I'm not giving you a narrative based on a political ideology like everybody else. And by the way, the reason they do it is because there's money. And I don't know if you guys get that. The motivating factor behind journalism today is money. Always has been. And that money is generated from politics. There's a lot of money to be made with politics. That's why they push politics so heavily. So in case you're wondering why every news... Like, you ever been watching a documentary? Like, I was watching a documentary. Oh, they got water on the benches. I was going to sit down. I was watching a documentary recently about, like, animals, right? You ever watch an animal documentary? And then all of a sudden they're like, evolution came about 8 billion years ago. And you're like, okay, this is starting to sound like it's no longer about the animal show. It's now about somebody trying to shove evolution down my throat, right? You ever been in that situation? Like, you ever watching, like, a nature documentary? You know, like, you're watching, like, a nice nature documentary, right? And all of a sudden, here's the narrator. 8 billion years ago, when animals first evolved. And you're like, hold on. Why are you shoving evolution down my throat? I came here for an animal show, you know what I mean? I came here to look at penguins swimming, and here's somebody trying to shove, evolution down my throat. And that's kind of what journalism is today. Like, so my YouTube channel is kind of weird for a lot of people because I don't really follow any particular agenda or narrative. I just get stories, and some of those stories the audience perceives are on one side of things. Some of those stories, the audience perceives it's on the other, but it's on neither. And there's people that, like, for some reason or another, they always want to figure you out. They always want to be like, okay, this journalist is either on the right side of things or on the left side of things. Like, they always want to figure you out. And then for some people, it's definitely weird. What up, River? Thanks for checking in. So for some people, it's definitely weird when they see a YouTube channel like mine where, like, you tune in and you're trying to figure this person out. Is this guy a Republican? Is he a Democrat? Is he a liberal? And some people can't get past that. Like, there are literally people out there that will only watch something if it matches their preconceived political views. Not sure why, but it's a thing. It's a huge thing, you know? It's a huge thing. It's a huge thing. People literally will only watch something if whatever they're watching matches their political ideology. So when they come across a channel like mine, I feel like they kind of struggle because they're trying to figure something out that isn't to be figured out. It just is what it is. Citrus County, Florida. Yeah, buddy. Shout outs to the Citrus County. A bunch of old people and a bunch of hills and a bunch of roads. All right. So I'm going to walk on the other side of the road because they're playing loud music here and we don't want to get a copyright strike. But you'll be able to see the action even better from the opposite side of the road. Trust me on this. Yes. Citrus in the house. So I feel like my YouTube channel, for some people, it's really hard because they're trying to figure me out. They're trying to, like, label me one thing or another, and I don't fall under any of those categories. So it's been hard for some people to really grasp the sense of my YouTube channel because they're constantly trying to label me one thing or another that I'm not. I get it. It's confusing for a lot of people. No struggle, you're a lefty. There's Jay proving my point. I care about homeless people. I have been homeless. That's how I found your videos. You look at them not down, and kudos to you. Yeah, man, like, you know, the homeless thing, again, it's not something that I chose. It's just, this is where life brought our YouTube channel. Like, it isn't that I chose to be here with the homeless videos. It's this is where our channel came. Tribalism is all in it, man. You being authentic is in the path. Yeah. And I've seen a lot of YouTubers that I watch that have really gone the wrong direction. Like, not gonna mention names, but you guys know who they are probably. Like, YouTubers that I like and watch and all. And recently they've really gone with politics, you know? Taking a complete nosedive. And you got people like Jay in the comments who just, if it doesn't match their narrative, then it's liberal. Oh, it's liberal. It's a liberal news agency. Love your channel from Ozona in Chicago. Keep up the positive work and energy. Thank you. We try to do the best we can. The content is worthy. Tell the story. Do you feel it? Your heart to tell you, and the way you want to tell it. Yeah, it's an awesome feeling to be able to get stories, real life stories. I mean, people do like real life stories, and what could be realer? Guys, we're about to hit 100 people watching the live stream. Make sure you hit the likes. Thank you so much. What could be realer than a person's story if they're homeless? It may not be the hardest working person out there. It may not be the, I don't know, best example of a human being for some, but it's a real story, and there's no disputing that. It doesn't get realer. I know it's dead for being a Friday night out here. It doesn't get realer than a homeless... Guys, we hit 100 people watching the live stream in 20 minutes. That's pretty cool. It does not get realer than a homeless person's story because it's somebody who's out there with nothing, vulnerable, going through all types of crap. It's an interesting thing to watch. Like, and we've discovered a few people that are iconic during this whole thing. You know, like, we've discovered people that are not normal. They're just awesome specimens of humans. They have a particular situation, but, you know, we've discovered some incredible stories out there. I'm planning on going to New York during the summer. Cool, man. We got Alex in the house. What up, Alex? Look how boring it looks out here today. Very, very empty here today. So, like, the homeless thing, I didn't choose this thing. Like, this is just where life brought us, and It's become a huge part of our YouTube channel, and I'm okay with that. We've met some incredible people, got some crazy stories, and I feel like it was like when I started to see, like, everybody told me like homelessness was so bad in California. Everybody was like, the whole homelessness in California thing started going around. And I went to California, and I thought California wasn't really that bad. That was when I was like, okay, something ain't right here. We're being told that homelessness in California is horrible. And it is in a few cities. Fresno was horrendous, for example. And then I realized, like, wait, homelessness is actually pretty bad here. We just don't see it. Like, when I started going into those homeless camps and exposing all that, and I get threats, guys. I got a lot of people threatening me over the homeless interviews. I got people that, for some reason or another, absolutely hate what I'm doing with the homeless interviews. And I don't know why, but it's just anytime you do something different, you're gonna run into like haters. That's guaranteed. And with the homeless interviews, we've really ran into a. But my new strategy is just delete people and don't read their comments. Like, when I see somebody, a lot of YouTubers won't do this. Maybe it's the catalytic. Whoa! Don't care who you voted for. I enjoy the homeless videos. Thank you so much, Jay. I really appreciate it. Our first super chat for the day. Thank you so much, Jay. And that's really the way we should be. Like, why do people take politics so seriously? Where they can't even watch somebody if they don't agree with their views. That's so ridiculous. Or if some people, it's even worse. Some people, if you're not promoting their views, they won't watch it. It's very polarizing how people have got. And it's not just in the United States. It's globally. I'm watching a lot of content out of Spain right now, and it's a huge problem in Spain as well. In Spain, it's a huge problem. So it's everywhere. 2 weeks, I'm leaving for Orlando, Florida. All right, man. I hope you do good. It's going to be cold up north, so you'll probably be glad to be here. Yeah, man. I hope you enjoy yourself. Thank you so much for the super chat, man. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, like, I have a lot of people that, like, will come to my channel just to hate. And they say really mean and hurtful. And it hurts me because you don't know what I do for homeless people or not. Like, only the homeless people know who helps them, who doesn't. So I have already told you guys that I don't need to showboat everything that I do for other people. If I help other people or not, that is a private thing. It is not to be publicized. I'm not going to sit here and upload every act of generosity that I do because I make money with homeless people. The homeless people are glad to be able to help me because they relate to my story and they consider me a success story and they want to help me. So why the crap not? That's real talk. I mean, I got people that literally try to give me interviews for free, and I'll be like, I don't want to take the interviews for free. But I have a lot of people that constantly try to give me interviews for free. Fisherman says, I don't really care about politics as much as I guess, whatever. It is what it is. I care, but I enjoy your channel. It's positive. With my wife, I got something special. I agree. Winter Garden. Yeah. So there's Winter Haven, Winter Garden. I think Winter Garden's the nicer one. Winter Haven's kind of a little rough, a little rednecky. Sitting on the sidewalk here. My back pain has been a problem too. Like, I struggle a lot. Like, there's days where I'll wake up at 9 in the morning and I can't get out of bed till 3 in the afternoon. I kid you not. I just sometimes cannot get out of bed. It's that bad. It's really that bad with my back sometimes. Improvement is coming along little by little, but it's a very slow crawl. And I think I'm almost certain that I'm stuck with a lifelong debilitating pain. It's been over a year since the surgery. I'm still in a lot of pain, so go figure. It's not going to go away. I just got to learn how to live with it, but it's hard. Like there's times where I wake up in the morning and I just can't get up out of bed. I'm just stuck in bed. At least when I lay down, it doesn't hurt. When I start moving, it hurts. If I sit down for prolonged periods, it hurts. But at least when I lay down in bed, it doesn't hurt lying down, and that's at least I can sleep. I do gotta have pillows on my around my back and between my legs, but I can actually not feel pain while sleeping. Lately, when I now the noise is on the other side of the road. Okay, lately, I'm getting so the electrical the shocks went away for a while, but lately I've been getting like those shocking electrical pains every once in a while. When I wake up in the middle of the night, I get that shock. You know, the I don't know what you call it, the electrical pain, and that's really bad. But yeah, I get all types of threats from people. It's wild, but I get threats all the time, and you know, it's somebody at home talking garbage. But I've had people make some legitimate threats about the homeless video. Like there's somebody going around trying to convince homeless people that my YouTube channel's bad and dangerous, and they're telling me that like they're going to homeless camps and warning homeless people about me to hurt me when I go there. Like just all these horrendous things. I'm like, why instead of going to homeless camps to tell them to hurt people, why don't you go there and help them? That's my first thought, but whatever. Jason, what's going to see in New York City? What you gonna do? Is that you, Jason? Nice. Seminole County. Yo, Seminole County in the house. Yo, walking down the sidewalk in Siesta Key. People anywhere that I cannot see. Everybody left the town and it's vacant now. I love that 90s style music. You done with LPP? Yeah, you know me. Yeah, that's hilarious. I haven't heard that in a while. You know what, OPP? Yeah, you know me. Put your hands in the air like you just don't care. Yeah, DJ over there going throwback on people. Yeah. So there used to be a fence here, and now the fence is there since the hurricane. Queens, New York. Look at that, New York. You also like Lido Key. This guy's from New York. He went to Lido Key. Yeah. Nice. I live in Queens. The bridge is over. The bridge is over. I'm really wanted to see the Bronx. You know what? I thought the Bronx would be this horrendous place, you know? You hear all this guy's from the Bronx in New York. You know he's from the Bronx. You know the Bronx in New York. I went to the Bronx in New York. And I was like, wow, this is actually a lot nicer than I've heard. It's crazy how people will always say that a place is horrible. Like, when you hear the Bronx, you think, like, crazy attacked Puerto Ricans, you know? Crazy Puerto Ricans. You can still see some hurricane damage here. You can see this fence is kind of, like, falling over. Concrete here on the sidewalk for some reason. You know? Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to tell you I'd want to live there, but it's not as bad as people portray it. It's like every time you hear people talk about, you know, the Bronx. Those guys from the Bronx, from New York, you know. He's in New York, from the Bronx, you know. He's a Puerto Rican from the Bronx, you know. You got to be careful. Not even Vinny likes to go there, you know. And then you go there, and it's like, whatever, big deal. I can't believe we got up to 100 people. I always thought Brooklyn would be worse. I think, I'm not even sure. It's a big city. It's a big city. Years ago, I bet many years ago it was bad, but like, it's 2025, so get with the times, you know? Is it that bad today? Probably not. It isn't that bad today. You like Brooklyn? Yeah. I actually like, if I were to live in New York City, I haven't been on Long Island, so I guess I can't talk about Long Island. I got a feeling, I don't know what I would like. I kind of like the southern part of Brooklyn a little bit. I like Staten Island. I know people are like, what the crap, but I did. If I were going to live in the New York City area, I would live like north of New York City, kind of like north of the Bronx. Seemed pretty cool. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near Manhattan or the center of the city. I would want to be like north. Hempstead, yeah. But I haven't explored Long Island as well as I should have. It's a really expensive city to be in. Like New York City is the type of city where I could live there and not cover it all in a lifetime. That's how big it is. Me and Katie do want to leave. Like serious talk, and we always talking about leaving, but we are ready. Of course, our lease doesn't quite expire. What part of the Keys is Siesta? Oh, this is in Sarasota. Yeah, we're actually in Sarasota. It's an island right outside of Sarasota. Yeah, it's Siesta Key is not in the Florida Keys. It's kind of between. It's south of Sarasota. So, anyways, we are serious about wanting to leave Florida. We don't know where we're gonna go. We have two parents that are elderly in Florida. I got my dad in Naples. Katie's got her mom in Fort Myers, and that makes for a very difficult. Very. We got Pine Island, Florida. Hippie J, what's happening, partner? Yeah, buddy. I miss my old days on Pine Island, buying mangoes and shopping for tropical fruit trees. Siesta Key is beautiful. It is. It's a little emptier than usual. Look at these big condos. They got water fountains up front. It's definitely chill out here. I mean, go figure. I live where people vacation. You can't complain about that. No, the humidity actually is pretty nice. Even though it's cold, I'm actually out, no issues. So the humidity is not bad today. He lives in Farmingdale, Long Island. No humidity tonight, which is why it actually feels really nice out here. It feels great, actually. It feels great to be out here. South Carolina Ball. How do you get your name to show up like that on your name? Well, anyway. We are thinking about moving for real. I guess the main issue would be one, money. You gotta have money to move, and right now we are not in the best situation. But I mean, we could have a few good months, and that could change. I'm not able to work as many hours as I used to because my back is always hurting. So like, I really have to measure my energy, and it's been difficult. Aaron, hey, I was surprised when you moved to Alabama. I am glad you guys moved back to Florida. I know moving to Alabama was just a huge mistake. We're still dealing with the economical repercussions of that situation. Emotionally, I feel good about Alabama. Like, I'm past. It was very traumatic and scary, but I think I'm really not worried about that anymore. My mind's not there. I do understand that we have to live in good places, not bad places. And maybe that. It hurts that we had our house paid off in Naples. You know, Alabama, them people running us out of there ruined our lives because when you buy a house, it's a long term commitment. You don't buy a house to then sell it during COVID. What those people in Alabama did to us is still, I try not to think too much about it, but what those people did to us in Alabama, it's been. Can you guys hear the music coming from the bar? There's music playing right over there. Can you guys hear what's happening? It's like, what's your opinion on Myrtle Beach? I like beach towns. How is the recovery? So, Keith, things are coming back to normal. Like, take this building here, right? You can see that their fence is still gone. It's stacked over there. You can see that over here, their fences are down and stuff. But we got power back on, and it's sadly the tourists are going to take a while. Avoid the Southern State Parkway. Okay. 174,000 people are following our journey. What happened to you in Alabama? So, Jay, in Alabama, it was the nightmare of a lifetime. To summarize it, because there wouldn't be enough time, the day that we moved into our house, somebody doxed us, I think it's called, where they send your address to thousands of people. So Somebody found out the address, and it was my fault because I let you guys know how much I paid for the house. So they went into the records and they found my address and they published my address. The day we moved into our house, thousands of people got my new address. And like that was part of the problem. Everybody knows where I live now. I live in a very open public place now, and crap, I don't give a crap. I go live for hours. So I don't give a crap. I'm a normal human being. But the problem with Alabama, it got off to a rough start. But the problem was just, if I could summarize it with hate, racism, jealousy, violence, it became very scary and very dangerous. You may have seen, Jay, some of the videos that I've done talking about how Latinos are being robbed and all that. There was no Cuban food. It goes deeper than that. Katie learned how to cook some good stuff. Yeah, man, Jay, what those people did to us was horrible. And I live in Naples. I had no idea that this even existed. Like, I always wondered, like, why don't people just move to these little towns? I was innocent. I didn't know that I couldn't live in these places as a Hispanic. I didn't know that. We started getting threats. We got robbed. We had 4 times where we had guns drawn at us. We got in shootouts. It got to the point where we realized, okay, either they're going to hurt me or I'm going to hurt them, and it wasn't worth it. We had to go as far as talking to the FBI. We had a meth lab next door. We had one of our neighbors next door was a registered offender, so he was like really creepy. And not only was he a registered offender, we had a registered offender next door, and it got really scary. Like, it got to the point where, like, I couldn't sleep at night. I was buying guns and I was buying weapons, and we used to have to park our car strategically. It really got scary, and it wasn't worth it. It was like, like, you had to carry a gun. Literally, if I was going to go out to get a gallon of milk at night, I had to grab the gun. You couldn't go get, like, right here. It's, what is it, midnight? What time is it? It's midnight, and I'm outside on a sidewalk. You know what I mean? It's midnight, and I'm hanging out outside live streaming. I could go to the hood right now in this city, and it would not be a problem. Could you run into an idiot here? Sure, you could run into an idiot anywhere, but, like, it's midnight, and I'm outside live streaming. You know what I mean? Am I worried about somebody trying to hurt me because I'm live streaming here? No. Bro, you cannot live in Alabama. Those people are violent. They're scary. Like, they're just savages. We had one of our neighbors did 80. The guy next door to us was a convicted felon who did 8 years for trafficking. Okay? So one neighbor on one side did 8 years for trafficking. The other neighbor was a registered offender. The other neighbor across the street supposedly was a cop, a retired cop. That should just give you an idea the type of area we were in. These people were really, it was in the hollers, dude. Like, there was meth labs that exploded on the street that I was on. It was really scary. It was not conductive to be there. So it got scary and dangerous, and I finally woke up one day, like, we used to have to park our car. We had these biker gangs that would come and, like, do donuts on our driveway or, like, park outside my house. And I was literally inches from doing it. I got tired of it. Like, we had these, and this is like a dirt road in the middle of nowhere, right? So we're on this dirt road up a mountain in a valley between mountains, right? We're up in this dirt road, right when you got to our house, the gravel ended, you know what I mean, type thing. We're on this dirt road, and these biker gangs would pull up, and they would park their bicycles in front of my driveway. And I contemplated doing it. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't gonna let these people intimidate me, and I was like, you know what? Wouldn't it just be better to be homeless in Florida? You know what I mean? Like, I was like, wouldn't it just be better to be homeless in Florida? I told Katie one night, I was like, wouldn't you rather be homeless in Florida? And she's like, yeah. And we put everything in storage. I sold my guns. I felt so much relief when I got rid of the guns. And I told myself, whatever they want, they can just have it. And it was a nightmare of a lifetime to be in Alabama. It was to the point where, like I said, like one night I told Katie, wouldn't you just rather be homeless in Florida? And she was like, yeah, at least we could sleep in peace. You know? So we left Alabama. I sold my guns. I sold whatever we had, my drone. And then, like, I started to sell stuff at pawn shops because I figured, well, they're going to rob us anyway. So why even have anything of value if we're just going to get robbed? Because we were getting robbed. So I was like, wouldn't it just make sense to sell everything valuable so when they come to rob us, there's nothing they can take? You know what, dude? American Country, you're done. Hide user from the channel. I don't give a crap. You're done. I don't need to hear your crap. You're done. Now you're hidden from the channel. Nobody can give a crap about your opinion. So we decided to sell everything we had, and then we came to Florida in our Yukon. I sold the truck that I had. I tried to sell a lot of things, and then, like, we came down here in our car. We put the house on the market, and little did we know that our realtor was going to pull the biggest fraud that we've ever seen. I mean, the realtor knew the buyer. The buyer was the realtor's friend, and they changed the locks on our house. Can you imagine your own house that you own, somebody coming and changing the locks on your house? When the realtor knew we weren't there, she came and she changed the locks, and the other people were literally living in our house, and we hadn't got paid yet. And then they said that they damaged our septic tank, and they said that there were roots in the septic tank, but there weren't. It became to the point where me and Katie literally gave up on the house money. We never thought we were going to get the money out of the house. Imagine, I told Katie, look, we hadn't got paid for the house. They changed the locks on our house. They tore a hole in the front yard in our septic tank, and they hadn't paid for the house yet. They were trying to get us to leave the house for like less money. So they were like starting to break. We weren't there. We had to leave because it got so dangerous. We left. But while the house was empty, these people that, you know, the realtor, and you know, I know who this realtor is. I know where this person lives. I have had to have so much peace and tranquility in my life, so much patience, because when somebody destroys your whole life, you really contemplate a lot of things. I've been to Orangeburg, but we're not talking about that right now. When somebody destroys your whole life, you really do contemplate a few things. And I told my wife, you know what, Katie, let them keep the house. Let them keep everything. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life in jail. Because I know that if I go to jail, nobody's going to be able to take care of Katie. I told her, you know what, let's just go back to Florida. We'll live in the Everglades. And we came back with nothing. It was like, if I stayed there, it would have been a matter of time before I had to do something, because it had already got close, really close to something bad happening. So it wasn't worth it. And I'm glad that my experiences have helped me help other people. Because just like that person was in the comments that we deleted, there's people like that they want to cover up. They want to cover up these stories. They don't want people to know the truth about these things, you know? There's people out there like that person we just deleted that they don't want people to know the truth about these things. They want to cover it up so they can keep doing it. So, you know, there's people out there like that, you know, that they want to discredit everybody's story, you know, like with the homeless people. Sometimes the homeless people have crazy stories. I don't discredit their stories. I just listen to them. Could they be lying? Sure. Are they lying? A lot of them might be. But I don't discredit their stories. I just listen to them. You know, when I started, I think the most hurtful thing, right? Once we came back to Florida, we're living in our car. We haven't got the money from the house. We got like we got down to $500 in the bank living out of our car. We were living in the Everglades. I finally went to my dad and I said, Dad, we're practically on the streets. We have nowhere to sleep. It came to the point where we didn't have enough money for a hotel anymore. We had like $500 left. And I told my dad, I said, Dad, I don't have any more money left. We're down to $500. We're going to start sleeping in our car. We're going to start sleeping in the car. Can I borrow whatever you can give me, Dad? Just whatever you're able to give me. Just, I don't know if it's 100 or 300. Just whatever you can give me. Please give it to me. And I will pay you back. I would tell people my story about what happened and they wouldn't believe me. So it was really painful that my family wouldn't believe what happened to me. There's people spreading rumors that I had, you know, that people had started in my family, within my family, people had started some horrible rumors about what had happened to me that weren't true. Nobody would believe my story when I told it. And this is kind of what people who hurt other people do. They wanna put the narrative out there that to discredit your story, you know? Lakeland is a crap hole. I wouldn't move to Lakeland if I had to. I would avoid living in Lakeland at all costs. Polk County sucks in general. You know, and nobody believes your story. It hurts to where I stopped telling people my story because they didn't believe me. I told a few people that were very smart. Like, I know a lot of people. And I told my full story to a few people that are very intelligent people that I believe wouldn't question me at least. Alabama's a crap hole. Because you measure a place by their people, and if the people are full of hate, who would want to live there? Come to Naples. I lived in Naples for 20 years, man. I'm done with Naples. So, thank you so much. We got our super chat here. You're a great man. I believe your story. And there's parts of my story that I can't share because it really got dangerous. But thank you for the super chat. Would you move to Alabama if you were white, Jose? No, I wouldn't want to live there either way. I don't want to live around hateful people. I want to live around people that are rich, happy, by the beach. I don't want to live around miserable people. So you couldn't give it to me for free. I walked away from a house that was paid. Okay, think about this. My cars were paid off. My house was paid off. And I was making money on YouTube. You don't just walk away from that. Okay, think about that. My house was paid off. My property taxes were like $600 a year. You think people walk away from that just to walk away from it? There's parts of the story that I could never share on social media. But there were very scary things that I had to do that people did to me. It became terrifying. So I'm back in Naples. I told my dad, I'm down to like $560. I need to borrow money. And my dad gave me like $300. And I told him, I'll get you when I'm able to. So we went to Miami. I went to Miami, and we stayed in Jupiter by the beach. And I remember they're playing Birdman over there. Can you guys hear the background music? They're playing Number One Stunner. I'm the number one stunner. They're playing Birdman. That's hilarious. That's hilarious over there. Jose, I hear Inverness is backwards. It's like Sarasota 20 years ago. Yeah, Inverness, there's a huge problem there with addiction and all that. It's kind of really bad in that area. I like to go to Inverness. After my experience with Alabama, I will never probably live in a rural area ever again, unless it's in South Florida. I didn't really realize how dangerous it is to be a minority in a rural place. It is terrifying. Florida is not as bad as Alabama, but I don't want to be exposed to that element. I already know I don't want to be in a situation where I can be deprived by anyone. Um, I'm pretty sure in my future I want to live in Los Angeles. I want to live in New York. I want to live in Miami. I don't want to go back to living in rural places. I don't want to live in rural places ever again. Jupiter being on Roblox. I know Bonita Springs is on Roblox where I used to live. Sorry, so back to my story. Will you ever move up north? We've talked about it, but I am outside wearing a sweater in Florida. Arcadia, Florida is a crap hole. Arcadia, Florida is bad. Arcadia, Florida is a crap hole. Every person that I've ever interviewed that's from there, even the people that are from there, tell you it's a crap hole. You love Bonita Springs? Yeah, I mean, when I lived in Naples, I lived a mile from Bonita Springs. I was there all the time. Oppressive is the word that comes to my mind when I think of Alabama. It really is. So I'm in Jupiter, and I had like $700. We stayed at this nice hotel in Jupiter. And I remember seeing these luxury apartments in Jupiter, right? You know, like, but they want 3 times your income, right? They're playing the number one stunner over there. All right, whatever. It's a hilarious song to be playing this late at night. So, I remember in Jupiter, we're on US 1, and there's these luxury apartments, you know, but you have to make 3 times the rent, right? And at the time, my YouTube channel was making like on a good month 2,000, right? So obviously in Florida they have this like you have to make 3 times the rent rule. So in order for me to be able to live in one of these luxury apartments, I would have to make like $6,000 to $7,000 a month. And it never crossed my mind that my YouTube channel would ever make that kind of money. So it seemed kind of far-fetched at the time, you know. I would have to make, make $7,000 a month. That's a lot of money, right? It's a lot of money. $7,000 a month. It was a dream at the time, you know. Like, I would see these luxury apartments here in Florida. I'd be like, wow, if I could only live there, I would do anything to live there. And that's where I'm at now. I'm not in Jupiter. I'm in Lakewood Ranch, but comparable. I mean, comparable, right? A lot of times we look at the things we want in life and we get so carried away in what we want that we don't really enjoy what we have because we're so focused on what we want. We're so focused on the wants. And you're always looking at what you coulda, woulda had, what you want to have, and you don't enjoy what you have at the moment. But I remember, like, when we were living out of our car, just dreaming about an apartment here in Florida, and I didn't have any credit back then. Of course, even if you had cash money, so we start going to these apartments, right? One day, my sister called me, and she's like, hey, Jose, I talked to Dad. I know you're living on the streets right now and out of your car and all that. My sister gave me a chance, man. She told me, she's like, I don't know what happened to you in Alabama. You're my brother. You can't be sleeping on the streets. So my sister told me to come sleep in her house, in her garage. And at the time, there were a lot of really bad rumors about what had happened to me. And she had a little baby at the time, you know. And she's like, I don't know what happened to you. You can't be sleeping on the streets. She's like, you cannot be sleeping on the streets. You you have to come over here. And I really respect her for doing that because she had a baby, a very young baby, and there were really bad rumors going around that people were trying to hurt me and stuff. And she, well, I move into her house and I'm living in her garage, and I quit on my realtor because my realtor was pulling like the most. There probably isn't enough time on today's video to get into all these details, but the realtor had pulled this really nasty scam on me. So I told my sister had just got her real estate license, and I told my sister, look, now my sister didn't believe me. She gave me the benefit of the doubt. She wasn't like 100% with me. She just gave me the benefit of the doubt. So my sister had become a realtor. And I told my sister, look, I told my sister, like, they're practically trying to steal the house from me. The other people have moved into the house. They haven't given me the money yet. They kept every single day. The realtor that I hired, right? So the realtor that I hired was friends with the people that bought the house. And every single day she would send me 3 or 4 different contracts with revisions. So there might be like 50, 60, 70 revisions on my real estate contract because every single day they were playing a game with me, you know? They were playing a game of like, they were playing like a scare tactic on me, right? So like the realtor that I hired was friends with the buyer. And that's illegal in a lot of states, but in Alabama, they have this thing called dual agency in Alabama. It's illegal in Florida, but it's not illegal in Alabama. I hope that it's not legal in Florida. I don't know if they've made a lot of changes to real estate laws in Florida. But anyway, it's this thing called dual agency. So our buyer was representing us. I mean, our realtor was representing the seller and the buyer. That's illegal in Florida. It's called dual agency. It's illegal in Florida. My sister is a realtor in Florida, and she told me, Jose, let me just, since you're really stressed out, let me handle the real estate transaction for you because it looks like, they're playing games. She's like, they're playing a lot of games with you, and I know right now you can't handle this. So my sister took over the real estate transaction, and she got to see firsthand how horrible we were being treated and how many games these people were playing with us. I feel like after my sister saw what they were doing on the real estate end of the transaction, I'm already gone, right? I'm in Florida. I walked away from my house. I am living in a car in Florida. Now my sister let me sleep in her garage. I gave up on the house. I said, you know what? It is what it is. What am I going to... I can't keep fighting a battle that I can't win. I gave up on the house. Like, as far as I knew, they stole my house from me. That's just what it was. Right? So as far as I knew, they had stolen my house from me. Right? So I gave up on the house. It was like, it is what it is. I'm not going to keep trying to fight this. As far as I'm concerned, they stole my house from me. In Alabama, both races are racist. They're both bad. Everybody's full of hate there. So my sister starts to take over the real estate transaction, and she got to see what they were doing to me. And she's like, I can't believe they're doing this to you. Every day they would send, but when my sister took over the real estate transaction, the people in Alabama got a little scared because I'm not stupid either. Like, the realtor, I'm not going to get into this. I'm not going to get into this. My sister starts to handle the real estate transaction. And she saw how they were, every day they would send 7, 10 different contracts. And it was like revision after revision after revision. And eventually, guys, we're almost at 200 people watching. That's crazy. Make sure you hit the like button, please. I would like to get to at least 100 likes on this live stream. So, all right. So my sister takes over the real estate transaction. And she got to see firsthand how Alabama works. And she's like, Jose, I can't believe the things these people are doing to you. And this is the realtor that I hired. So finally, my sister did believe my stories because my sister got to see what they were trying to do with my house, She got to deal with them, and she saw how they would lie and how they would, change the contracts. And she got to see all the games they were playing with us. So thankfully, my sister was very avid and smart. And my sister eventually convinced them to wire the money, and we got the money. But when we got the money for the house, there were already people living in my house. Right? There were already people living in my house when I got the money. They moved in my house, changed the locks, and never gave us the money. These people in Alabama were literally trying to live in our house without giving us the money. They moved into my, and then you can't call the cops because the cops are their friends. You can't call a lawyer because here's the thing about a small town in Alabama, right? The thing about a small town in Alabama is you can't call the cops because the cops are their friends. You can't call a lawyer because the lawyers are all their friends. What are you going to do? Who are you going to call? All the lawyers are friends. All the cops are friends. Every single person, right? Every single person in this town they're all on the same team. It's a clan, okay? Everybody there is on the same team. Who are you going to call? Are you going to call a cop? Are you going to call a judge? Are you going to call... Who are you going to call? It's a small rural county in Alabama. Who are you going to call that isn't in on it? They're all in on it. Go figure. The realtor that I hired, I wasn't stupid, by the way. I brought a realtor from another county, but unfortunately, the problem was that the realtor that I brought from another county, the realtor I brought it's a good old boys network. Jason, that's exactly what it is. It's a good old boys network. All the judges, all the cops, all the lawyers, they're all related. It's called a good old boy system. Everybody there is on the same team. If they want to, imagine if you can't call the cops because the cops are in on it. You can't call a lawyer because all the lawyers are friends and they're all in the same network. What are you going to do if right now they want to steal your house from you? And they offer you $20,000 for it? What option do you have? Okay, here's the other thing, right? Are you going to go now armed and try to evict somebody from your house, knowing that they're friends with the cops, knowing that the lawyers, cops, they're all this? What option do you have? Tell me, what option do you have? What option do you have? You have zero options. You had to walk away from it. And I'm glad that my sister got to see, because she started to defend me to try to help me get my money from the real estate transaction. My sister got to see how they were acting, and she came to believe my stories because she saw how they were doing. She got to see how they were living in my house. She got to see how they were I'm not even going to get into the details because there's too many. There wouldn't be enough time on tonight's video. I got 108. And here's the other thing. Once we finally got the money, right? The real estate company kept we only got $118,000. So real estate fees were almost $20,000. So they still stole a lot of money from us. they still stole a lot of money from us. And I do believe that the real estate attorney, he was kind of like, I don't think he was part of the scheme, but the real estate attorney, he was aware of what was happening, but he couldn't pick sides, if you know what I'm saying. So sometimes there's somebody who, there was more to this story. Like, they had an inspector come out, right? Supposedly. Now, when you buy a house, there's an inspection period. But I know I'm ignoring a lot of the comments, but you guys can keep commenting. When you buy a house, there's something called an inspection period. And during the inspection period is the only time where you can run inspections. But they were actually doing inspections outside of the inspection period, which is illegal, even according to Alabama law. But this is where my sister comes in. She's like, hey, they're running inspections outside the inspection period. This is actually illegal. And I guess the guy that did the financing was also in on it with them. It got nasty. I mean, this crap in Alabama got so nasty. I mean, it got scary. One day I looked at my bank account. Oh, they didn't call us or anything. One day I looked at my bank account and the money was there. They didn't call us and tell us nothing. I had been living in my sister's house for like 3 or 4 weeks, right? I had been there for 3 or 4 weeks already. Like, I don't know how long it had been. And one day I look at my bank account and the money was in the bank account. It wasn't like they called us and say, okay, we're going to do the closing or this or that. No, like, they sent the money whenever they felt like it. Jose, I think I would have been wise to rent before buying a home in an unfamiliar place. No, it wasn't, because it was during COVID. How would I have known? Dude, what I went through is unheard of. It is unheard of what those people did. Who would have even imagined that you would buy a house and people would try to literally steal your house from you? That's like unheard of. Yeah, oh yeah, they're all in on it together. It's not, Lisa. It's not that they didn't like me. It's that they know they prey on people that are vulnerable. You're not from there. You're Hispanic. They're not going, like, you think a Chinese person could just move to West Virginia or some small town in Alabama? No. People don't realize how entrenched hate is in the United States. You can't just move wherever you want to in this country. You think you can just get up and move to some small little community somewhere and live there because you feel like it? That's not how things work. You know, like, that's not how things work. You really think you could just move to a community because you want to live there? That's not how this country works. If you move to the wrong place in this country, you can lose your life. You can have your house stolen from you. And a lot of you guys don't know these things. That's why I'm really thankful that I was able to share this experience with so many people, because people need to know that this is a thing that happens. It happened to me, I feel, with the notion that I could share my story and my story would help other people be aware that this exists as a problem. But they didn't care, guys, that I have a YouTube channel. Can you imagine somebody that has a YouTube? I think I had 100,000 subscribers back then or something like. I can't remember how many I had. Dude, they didn't care that I had a YouTube channel. Like, even now, like, most people here in Florida would think twice about messing with me, because they know that at least if something happens to me, I can at least have a voice. That's, like, if I right now share a life experience, 100,000 people can see that. And some of those people will believe you. And having a voice is a very powerful thing. Dude, those people didn't care that I had a YouTube channel and I had the ability to say my story. None of that mattered to them. They do not care. It didn't matter to them. They did what they were going to do, and that's it. It's so blatant. Anyways, it was a horrible experience. And, after going through all that, I never thought, that me and Katie would end up homeless like that. Like, you go from owning your own house outright. Dude, when I went to Alabama, I had $105,000, 107, I think it was. I had over $100,000 cash. You think that somebody who has $100,000 cash thinks that tomorrow they're gonna be on the streets? That doesn't even cross your mind, dude. Like, that's why I tell people, like, it doesn't matter how much money you got. It doesn't matter how much money you got. You could literally be homeless tomorrow, and I'm dead serious. Like, a lot of, like, who would have thought me and Katie, with a house paid off, cars paid off, that we would end up homeless? It would have been a laugh. It would be like, what? No, dude, you can lose everything overnight. I mean, literally, there's been people who their house burns down and their insurance lapses the same day for some reason, type crap. You know what I mean? Hopefully, it doesn't happen to you in your lifetime. But, a lot of times we just assume, oh, this scenario would never happen to me. You get what I'm saying? Like, you don't just think you're going to wake up one day and be homeless when you got your house paid off. Like, that doesn't cross your mind. So, like, that's why when I went through that experience, I had to look at homeless people differently. And, I understand traumatic experiences. I understand. I understand people not believing your story. I mean, a lot of times, homeless people tell you a story, and people just don't believe them. I've heard stories that I don't believe, but I don't say that to the person. You know why? Because sometimes you can tell somebody's full of crap, and it's very true. There are a lot of people that are just full of crap. They're not. There's a lot of people that are full of crap. They're not. There are people that are full of crap, without a doubt. But, discredit somebody's story, not believe somebody's story in general, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it because I've been in that situation, and it's painful when you tell somebody your story and they don't believe it. What's up, buddy? How you doing, sir? When you tell somebody your story and they don't believe you, that's a painful thing. Like, dude, you tell somebody your story and they don't believe you. It almost plays into the pain of that somebody's trying to inflict on you, because now you're playing into the pain that person goes. Like, when somebody tells you a traumatic life experience, even if you don't believe them, you do not have the right to question that person's story. Look at this. Psychopaths are amused at victim impact statements. Yeah. Like, when somebody tells you a story, a traumatic experience that they've lived, if you don't believe that story, don't discredit it. Don't discredit it, because that plays into the pain that person's feeling about it. You know what I mean? Imagine now you went through all this crazy life story, and then when you share with somebody, hey, I went through this and this happened to me, and then people don't believe you, that just adds to the pain. Like, it hurts you. Sometimes people not believing your story can hurt just as much, because at least I told myself with my YouTube channel, okay, they did all this to me, but I'll be able to vent. I'll be able to get this off my chest one day, And that's exactly the way it is now. But, you also have to be careful with that, because it's not healthy for you to endlessly vent frustration. You have to move past things. And, if I think about these things for too long, it raises my blood pressure. It probably isn't good for me to nag on this topic. It probably isn't good for me to... So this little bar, they'll be leaving this nightclub soon. and they've been drinking and partying all night. It'll be kind of wild when they get out. And unfortunately, I'm gonna have to turn the Uber app on and grab somebody leaving that bar when they leave. But they're not quite ready to shut down. When the crowd comes outside and they close the bar, I'll turn the Uber app on. Or I might just go home. It's been really crappy on Uber. That's why I went live streaming, because it was so bad on Uber. I figured, you know what? Let me just live stream, because what the crap? You know what I mean? Let me just live stream. Da, 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 da. Cops patrolling. Sit here for a minute. They're playing in the club. I guess it's an old school night. They're playing in the club by 50 Cent over there. Jose, do a live stream of Uber driving. It's actually illegal to do that, Alex. It's a serious violation of the Uber policy. There's like the most weird old school music at that party there. No, Alex, it actually is a serious violation of the Uber rules to live stream your ride. It's actually a huge yeah, it is a huge violation. If you live stream your Uber ride, you will get your account closed in a heartbeat. Okay, guys, it wasn't cold earlier in the night, but it is starting to get cold now, okay? So I'm going to hang out here. There's a lot of people partying in there. Let's get a little closer and see what it looks like in that club. When this club gets out, there will be people leaving this club, and I think that will be pretty much the only chance I'll get to get an Uber passenger out of here when this club closes. So let's hang out over here. There's drunk people everywhere. You can hear people screaming over there. It gets this late at night. It goes down here fairly quickly. I hope they're not driving like that. Nobody believes what's going on with me. Okay, here's Brevard. The hatred, the storm of the people. Well, the thing about Brevard County live streams, sometimes, like, for example, if you have a drug addiction, it's hard for people to believe you. If you are, there can be things that you can do when you share your story that make it more unbelievable. You also, as a person that's a victim, have to know and prepare for knowing that people aren't going to believe you. I mean, there's a difference. There's just different ways that you can behave. Like, I waited a very long time to share my story, for example. And I started to share my story slowly, little by little. So there is a proper way of you to dialogue, It isn't, even if you do it the right way, you're going to, I think with my audience, I waited. I didn't have this emotional outburst or cry for help on YouTube. I never did that. I didn't have a cry for help. I'm pretty sure you guys can hear the music, and we don't want to get a copyright strike, so let me move a little bit further away, because I'm pretty sure we can hear the music. We can hear the particular song from here. T-Pain, obviously. We don't want to get that copyright strike, basically. I want to be loud enough so we can't hear the music. If you're watching the live stream, can you hear the song playing right now? This is a good place to live stream from, but it isn't a good place with the music. Can you guys hear the music on the live stream? World's fanciest hot tub in that place. Okay. If you're watching the live stream, can you tell what song is playing over there? I don't know how good the microphone's playing it back. Okay, cool. You can barely hear. Okay, cool, because we don't want to get a copyright strike. They're playing I'm Different now. I'm different. Yeah, I'm different. What's up with the old school music? I guess it must be an older crowd or something, because all they're playing is absolute old music. And I'd say old, I mean like from my era. Touche. Yeah. It is starting to get cold now. It wasn't cold earlier, but it is now starting to get cold for real. Like, I have to say it is feeling cold out here now. Let me sit down for a minute here. You see, there's still stuff like this from the hurricane left over. There's still a lot of hurricane-related. At least there's a lot of places to sit here. My back, I gotta take it easy. Guys, it is starting to get cold, and I'm a kind of asthmatic, so I don't want to be out It's not that it's cold, it's that the humidity's kind of starting to, to do it. Starting to get a little bit of moisture, and that is not good. There's starting to be a little bit of moisture. I'm going to bed now. I get it. It's late. 70s and 80s had great music. It's Sarasota. Of course, they're playing old music. Yeah. But, does having a white wife make you experience rural America? No. Okay, so it does, but then, like, they still hate her for it. Coughing into the microphone. My bad, bro. I'm sorry. It is starting to get cold. Let me do this real quick. Let me walk back to the car. I think this nightclub... Does anybody know what time it is already? What time is it on the East Coast? Does anybody know? Yeah, Katie suffered just as much as I did. I mean, Katie went through a lot. Keep in mind that she's from Michigan. They don't like Northerners either, so it's not like she had it any better. Okay, it's 1 a.m. Cool. So they'll be getting out of this. I think they'll be closing this nightclub soon. Let me go ahead and head back to the truck, and hopefully I can get some Uber rides. It's getting really cold, and not only is it cold, but like there's starting to be like a mist, like a dew, and I don't want to get sick. It's now cold. It's been cold, but now like it's starting to feel kind of wet cold, and I don't want to. 1:02. Okay, so 1 a.m. I think people will be leaving this club here soon. So let's get back to the car, turn on the Uber app. And there's no other Uber drivers here right now. So maybe it's a good time to turn on the Uber app. I could probably turn the Uber app on even during the live stream, but I won't. I'm not going to do that. Let me get back to the truck. You guys, I really appreciate it. We actually got $10 out of Super Chats, which is pretty cool. The last 2 live streams, I haven't got anything. And we got close to 200 people watching. Please hit the like if you haven't hit it yet. We hit 100 likes. That's usually my goal for a live stream, so we're good there. If you haven't hit the like yet, hit it. Those Alabama stories are wild. I try not to dwell too much on it. I just think about, what's in front of me right now. And I've had a great time here in Sarasota. I really like living in this area. I love it, actually. I like it more in Southwest Florida. But I feel like eventually me and Katie are going to need to be in a larger city. And if the homeless thing continues to be part of our channel, then eventually I would like to move to a bigger city where there's more homeless people and we can get more interviews. Because, they are running the homeless out of Florida, and that doesn't really equate to a lot of people we can interview eventually. We need to, like, if homelessness is really going to be part of our channel, then I'm going to have to live somewhere where there's a lot of homeless practically. Guys, it's been a pleasure to have you guys on here and checking out from Siesta Key. There's still a little bit of cleanup work left to do. It's really sad to see the island so empty, and they do believe that the red tide is going to continue to be a thing here, so this is about as empty as you're going to see this island in general. Do not sleep in the King's Grass, Florida. Yes, sir. You guys have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for checking in with me. I can't believe so many people got watching the live stream, but it's good. It's good that there's 180 people watching here. Let me go ahead and turn my app on. I'm starting to see people piling up outside the bar, whatever the crap. So maybe I can get an Uber ride out of here and make some money. At least get me off the island, because if I wait too long, I won't be able to get a passenger off the island. So I'm out, guys. Thank you so much for your time.